Hello lovely people, I hope you are having a lovely day and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm doing more of Create This Book. I'm finishing up the pages that I started last time and hopefully completing it. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, today I am finishing the prompt of creating a fancy name. Last video I started creating the name and designing it, and I drew it out, but I didn't finish decorating the page, so that's what I am going to be doing today. In the last video, when I was writing the name out, it felt bland by itself, and that's why I added the pink background behind it. And that is what has inspired me to draw bubbles today, because the pink reminded me of bubblegum. So today I am decorating all the pages with bubbles, and to draw the bubbles, I used caps from different things in my room, like perfume and stuff, and I just traced those to make the round bubbles. And of course the really small bubbles I had to draw by hand because I didn't have anything that small to trace, but that definitely helped to make it look more like bubbles. To draw these bubbles, what I basically did is the outline, of course, with the caps, and then I emphasized the outline, drew more on top of it and colored in the bubble, and then I tried to do like shading and stuff and like highlights, that type of thing, because like bubbles are very much like that. They have a lot of shading and stuff, at least from what I can tell from looking at pictures. I don't know, I have never drawn bubbles before. This was actually my first time, so I was just kind of messing around, trying to figure it out. I feel like I did okay. I don't know. Since bubbles have like a lot of shading and stuff, I used my colorless color pencil blender a lot on this project, because it needed a lot of blending to make it actually look more like a bubble. And also for the color pink, I used just the one pencil the whole time, and if I wanted darker areas, I just used more pressure, and then of course the lighter areas I just used less pressure. So that kind of helped me. I feel like the idea of decorating the page with the bubbles was like a very easy, quick, type of project, but it actually took me quite a while because I was really focused on like blending, shading, all those different things. So it actually took me longer than some of my other things, but that's okay. Sometimes art just takes a long time. Also, as a side note, I would like to apologize to those of you who saw my last video when we're waiting for this next one, because I kind of stopped not finishing the page and left on a cliffhanger. Yeah, it's just been a little while, just like 2 months. So yeah, I apologize for that. My bad. Anyways, back to the project. To draw the bubbles, I was just kind of randomly placing them because I didn't know exactly how I wanted it, but I just placed them wherever I felt like was needed to kind of make it all like blend together, I guess. Make the whole page look nicely decorated, not too empty, but also like not too full at the same time. I always enjoy projects like this where I don't really have to think too much and I just kind of, draw and just put it all on. I always enjoy that a lot. It's kind of like just doing like random designs. I enjoy that kind of art too. So this was really fun to do and easy. Even though it did take a while, it was really fun. When I was first considering different ways I could decorate the page for creating a fancy name, my first idea was kind of create the fancy name and then just write the name all over the page in different spots. But I thought that would be kind of like boring. I don't know. I was like, I don't know how to make a design out of that. So I kind of just placed down the name in one spot really big, and then I just went from there, and then I got this idea, so it kind of worked out. Usually though, when I am trying to think of how to do my art or how I want to design it, I'm usually like just staring at the page for half an hour. But thankfully this one I was able to come up with an idea quick and easy. And that is most definitely not usually the case, sadly. And because of that problem that I have, and I'm pretty sure most artists have, that's why I really love Create This Book so far. And I think that's like one of the reasons Mariah Elizabeth created this book, because it's supposed to help with, our blank minds. Also, more on the shading part, I did add some color on the outside of the line of the bubble to make, shading around the bubble, not just like in the bubble. so then it's like pops out a little bit more, like a bubble, I guess. I didn't have to do that, but I wanted to because that's what I do. I'm an artist and I add too much detail to my art. Usually when I am doing art, I always like sketch things out first and then I draw like with color or whatever I'm doing on top of that. But this time I didn't even sketch at all. I just went straight into the color. So I feel like I'm pretty proud of myself for doing that because like I didn't really mess up too much. There was a few spots where I did have to use an eraser to try and get some of the colored pencil off. I know like colored pencil isn't like erasable, is that even a word? I don't know. Anyway, I tried to erase it. I think it did a little bit, so it kind of worked. But yeah, I'm pretty proud of myself for not sketching it out first because I usually do that. And then when I'm sketching, my sketches always take quite a while because like I'll draw a line, I'll erase it, and then draw another line, and then erase it, as you do. So I think I did pretty good. Since a big portion of this video is just me shading the bubbles, let's go in more detail about that, shall we? Okay, so how I decided where to put the darker areas, for one, when there was bubbles overlapping, that was for sure a spot where I darkened it more, because it's overlapping, so it should be darker because it's multiple layers, if that makes sense. So of course, like I added darker there, and then where the lines overlapped, I kind of added shading around those lines into the two bubbles that were overlapping. I don't know if that makes sense. I'm just trying to explain. I don't know. So that's what I did. And then where I did like the highlights, I guess what you call it in the bubbles, where I like drew a little circle in the bubble, and then I just colored around that, and that part stayed white. That was kind of like my highlights. Around that line of the highlight, I did add some shading inside the bubble, just around the line, to just kind of more emphasize that highlight. So that's also what I did for shading. And then on the sides, I kind of left the middle very more of a light, bright, because I feel like that's what bubbles are. And then on the edges, I did like kind of like big, kind of just not quite all the way around the edges, almost though. I just added darker in those areas because that just made sense to me. I did look at pictures a little bit to help me try and add shading to the bubbles, so I think that's kind of what I got from looking at the pictures. I don't know, it was like my first time doing bubbles, so that's just what I went for. So yeah, basically that is how I did the shading. Hopefully that made sense and it was helpful for you. Okay, now that I have finished drawing it, now I just need to glue it into the book, since I cut out pieces of paper and then drew it. I just thought that might be easier, so that's what I did. To glue it in, I just used a glue stick, made it super easy, and then I just slowly glued it in, made sure it was flat. It was super easy to do. Didn't take too long either, so that was good. I was worried it might take a while to glue in, but it was actually not too hard, just a little hard in the crevice. And there we go. Here is the final result. This was so fun to do, quick and easy. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!